Welcome back Cartech Zone. Today we're diving deep into a place most people have heard of but very few truly understand, California City. You've probably seen its name on maps. You might have heard about its massive land area, its desert surroundings, or the surprising fact that it's one of the largest cities in California by land size. But in 2025, what is California City really like? How does it perform in terms of lifestyle, opportunities, real estate, and overall cost compared to the rest of the USA? And most importantly, is it worth visiting, living in, or investing in? Today, we're going to break all of that down in the most detailed way possible. California City sits in the northern Antelope Valley area of the Mojave Desert, and when you first look at it from above, it almost feels unreal. A giant grid of roads stretching endlessly across the desert, many of them paved, many of them not, carving out neighborhoods that never fully developed. It's a place with a unique story, an ambitious dream from the 1960s that was meant to become another Los Angeles, but instead turned into one of America's most interesting urban experiments. And even though California City didn't become the mega metropolis developers once imagined, it has slowly evolved into something very different. A quiet, spread-out community with affordable land, open landscapes, and a lifestyle you won't find in crowded California cities. In 2025, one of the biggest conversations about California City centers around affordability. While the rest of California continues dealing with extremely high home prices, where even small houses in Los Angeles or San Diego often cross $1 million, California City remains one of the last places in the state where regular people can still buy property without selling their soul. Single-family homes in California City generally range from around $240,000 to $350,000 depending on the neighborhood, condition, and lot size. Some fixer-uppers drop even lower. And if you're looking for land, you can still find large parcels, sometimes an entire acre or more, for between $7,000 and $25,000. That alone has attracted a new wave of buyers in 2025. Remote workers, retirees, and people who want space, privacy, and affordable living. But affordability alone isn't enough to judge a city. You need performance. How does California City perform in real life? Well, one of the biggest strengths is how peaceful and quiet the environment is. There's no choking traffic, no overwhelming noise, no overcrowded neighborhoods. You get a lifestyle that feels relaxed, spacious, and slow-paced, almost the opposite of LA or San Francisco. For some people, that's a huge advantage. For others, it might feel too empty. It really depends on your personality and what you're looking for. The city runs on simplicity. Local stores, small businesses, gas stations, restaurants, and necessary services are available, but you won't find giant shopping malls or endless nightlife options. If you want major entertainment, you usually drive to Lancaster, Palmdale, or Bakersfield. But the trade-off is the wide-open desert environment, clean skies, and a sense of freedom that's hard to find in overly developed areas. In terms of job performance in 2025, California City is not a major economic hub, but it has some strong regional opportunities. Edwards Air Force Base is nearby, which provides both military and civilian jobs. There's also the Mojave Air and Spaceport, which has become a hub for aerospace testing, engineering, and experimental aircraft development. Companies like Virgin Galactic, Stratolaunch, and other private space firms operate in the region, meaning aerospace is one of the strongest industries close to California City. If you have skills in engineering, aviation, mechanics, or technical work, this area can be a solid place to build a career. Meanwhile, remote work has massively changed California City's performance in the past few years. People who can work online, programmers, editors, designers, virtual assistants, have started moving in because they can get a big home, a quiet environment, and a far lower cost of living than most of California. And with Starlink, fiber expansions, and improved internet in the region, connectivity has gotten better. In 2025, California City is no longer as isolated as it used to be. Now let's talk about lifestyle performance. What is daily life in California City like? Well, it's deeply tied to the desert environment. You get beautiful sunrises, clear blue skies, star-filled nights, and open desert landscapes stretching to the horizon. Off-roading, dirt biking, camping, and desert exploration are common weekend activities. If you enjoy nature and open land, this city feels like paradise. But summer heat can be intense, often crossing 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Winters, on the other hand, are surprisingly chilly and sometimes drop near freezing at night. So you get both extremes. Another performance factor is community. California City is small but friendly. People tend to know each other, or at least recognize familiar faces. Neighborhoods feel quiet, and crime rates vary depending on the area, but overall it's safer than many parts of larger California cities. You'll notice that the pace of life is slower. Nobody is rushing, nobody is stressed from traffic, and people appreciate simple things like space, privacy, and peace. Now let's get into transportation performance. California City is huge in land size, over 200 square miles, but the population is relatively small. That means you'll be driving almost everywhere. Public transportation exists but is limited, so having a car is almost a requirement. The roads are long, open, and usually empty, which makes driving smooth and peaceful. Fuel stations are available, but not as dense as bigger cities. So planning ahead is part of daily life. For investors in 2025, California City has become an interesting conversation. On one hand, the city has massive land potential. On the other, development growth is slow. What makes it attractive is that the prices are still low, meaning it may be one of the last places in California where regular people can afford to buy property without going broke. Long-term investors who believe in the future growth of the Mojave region see California City as a quiet opportunity. While it's not guaranteed to explode in value, it's one of the few California markets where you can still enter without needing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about the city's daily performance when it comes to services. Healthcare options exist but are not massive, so many people drive to nearby cities for more advanced medical care. Schools are functional, community-focused, and improving, but not at the level of major California districts. Grocery shopping is straightforward. You have the essentials, some supermarkets, and local businesses, but again, it's not a huge commercial area. So what does all of this mean for someone thinking about moving or visiting in 2025? California City is not for everyone, but for the right person, it's perfect. If you want big buildings, nightlife, clubs, or constant activity, you won't find that here. But if you want peace, space, affordability, desert beauty, and a quiet lifestyle, this city offers what other California places can't: breathing room. A chance to live without financial stress. A place where the horizon is wide and the pace is calm. When you compare prices to major California hotspots, Los Angeles, San Jose, San Diego, California City looks unreal. A house that costs over $1 million in LA might cost a quarter of that here. Property taxes are lower, rents are far cheaper, and day-to-day expenses don't crush your bank account. In a time when most Californians are battling high living costs, California City stands out as one of the few remaining affordable options in the state. 2025 also shows signs of slow but steady development. More people are discovering California City through online property listings, YouTube reviews, land sales, and remote work trends. Builders are gradually expanding. Small businesses are increasing. And while the city will never become the next Los Angeles, its identity as a peaceful desert community is becoming stronger. At the end of the day, California City's greatest performance strength is its simplicity. Big land, big skies, big freedom, small costs, small crowds. A lifestyle that feels almost lost in modern America. Whether it's the right place for you depends on what kind of life you want, but one thing is certain: California City is one of the most unique and misunderstood locations in all of California. If you're thinking about visiting, expect calm, open roads and desert landscapes that go on forever. If you're thinking about living there, expect a quiet, spacious, affordable lifestyle. And if you're thinking about investing, expect long-term possibilities rather than quick profits. So in 2025, California City may not be a flashy, fast-growing, high-tech metropolis, but it delivers something more valuable to many people: peace, affordability, and the feeling of having room to breathe in a state where that's becoming rare. And that alone sets it apart from the rest of California. Thanks for watching Car Tech Zone, and if you enjoyed this deep review, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more detailed USA reviews coming your way.